This is the moment I live for, and I know it's the moment my clients will never forget. It's the moment the client gets to see their home for the first time. This is after we finished building the home, and now we've also furnished it. We welcome you to see what they see when they arrive, and this is the reveal. Welcome to what I call fresh traditional with a hint of modern. This home is a family home. It's in Alpine, Utah, and we had a budget. Believe it or not, I like to work within a budget. And we had to decide where we would spend and where we would wait and spend later through the years. Isn't that what we do often? Let's make sure the bones are right and can last a long time, and then there'll be things we could add to our homes as we grow in those homes. So this is a great example of that. I think we got a long way with the budget that we had and made some smart decisions. I'll show you those while we're here. But let's start in the entryway. This is where it all happened, the night of the reveal. The doorbell rang, we went to the door, we couldn't tell what was going to happen. We opened the door and there were 37 people here to greet us for their reveal experience. There's nothing like it. It was the time of my life, and it always brings tears for me and usually for the client if I'm lucky. In the entryway, we wanted to give a little feel of integrity as always and a little fun. You can see that this light fixture here is one of our highest quality lights in the house. We did that because we thought it had to happen at the front door. And the rest of the way we were able to save a little bit on our lighting choices. Here we have our pressed dried flowers, something just very subtle, an art light. I love the integration of an art light into a space, not just because of the light it provides, but the texture, the brass. Adjacent to our entry is the office. You can see in the office we totally brought in that blue color that I love. I feel like every man needs a little bit of blue. They look good in blue too. So we just put the cabinetry behind the desk in that blue and really popped that brass color, which always works. And then gave him a lovely, very small office, picking a light fixture that was a little fun and affordable, and then spending the money on the desk itself. That really, I feel that most people will have their desks forever if they choose a good one that can stand the test of time. And to me, this desk is forever traditional. I want to point out just a few things on the cabinetry that are good little tricks for the trade. It's always nice to add library lights to the top of your cabinetry to light your open shelves, and also to mix it up, to have something else on your cabinetry besides just the wood. Another interesting thing we do is instead of having each of the cabinets separated as a full panel, we split that panel and make one big wide panel. That's interesting, that's unexpected. It doesn't cost more to come up with ideas that make things a little more special. So the family room, they have 4 children. We're always thinking about who lives here, and we had to add up with the amount of seats we put in this room. So as you see, we've got a ton of space here. We're looking at 2 groupings. We've got this by the fireplace and a TV. All right, I couldn't win, we have a TV in the room. No, we know people are real and they watch. So by doing a beautiful limestone fireplace, we really were able to ignore the fact that we had a TV above. When it comes to the floor coverings in this home, I wanted to keep it light and white oak. I also wanted this textured finish on it so that it felt informal and could handle the dog that lives here too. I collected some rugs for this house along the way. I remember finding this rug when I was in Paris at a great show. And I called the client and I said, I know it's kind of expensive. It's really large. It's going to be hard for me to find a rug that big. May I? And they said, we trust you. Those are golden words to any designer. And then I found this beautiful runner that also incorporates all the blues and the yellows that we love throughout the house. This is the adjacent powder bath, and it really had to speak to all the guests that come and stay here. I love the flavor of the vanity, the mirror, the shape of the mirror, and this vinyl wall covering. But it's all about the sconces in this space, the floral dogwood. Oh my gosh. We also love this flooring. So still going from the white oak, but instead moving to a chevron pattern. It's good to remember that you can use wood flooring in your bathrooms. The trick in these large rooms is setting up two conversation areas. So this is more of our intimate setting, our conversation area, maybe our game playing, and also still adjacent to the kitchen because of course we can never get anyone out of the kitchen. You'll see behind me is what I call home central. Instead of putting your office or the place where you do homework or pay bills into your own private office behind a closed door, I love leaving it open. And again, we call it home central because that's where you're going to pick the movies you're going to go to. You're going to plan your vacation. Your kids might be doing homework and have questions. I might need a recipe. So keeping the computer adjacent to the kitchen is actually a really good idea. It's just a question of doing it well. And I think this is a good example of that. When you look up in this room, you can see we definitely knew we needed to spend the money on the beams. That was something we couldn't wait until later to do. So we splurged and got our white oak beams in the ceiling, got our limestone fireplace, did the beautiful cabinets to the left and right of the fireplace, and added the beautiful brass netting inside. Some places we'll handle later, like the big windows, which need a drape. You can do drapes anytime. Let's go see the kitchen. I don't feel like I need to say much when you're filming in this kitchen. It really delivers. There's a lot of quality, there are good colors that speak to one another. It's really gelling and it's cozy. It's hard to say that it doesn't start with the hood. There is no question that the hood is one of the most important parts of your kitchen. So you have to think, what is my theme? Who am I in my house? For me, this hood defines the house. It's a little modern, but yet it has traditional bones. And they were so smart to splurge on the hood. You can see something unique happened here. Instead of running the backsplash like we all do all over the backsplash, I decided to use cabinetry as the backsplash on the two sides. So when you get up close, you can see this is actually just a wood panel made by the cabinet shop instead of running the tile. Price-wise, probably sixes, but interest-wise, it's a winner. You can see, once again, I love a chopping block in the kitchen, and I like to use it. Nothing for me is really for show. I want us to use the things that we have, but I want to make them beautiful. So we left this the light maple wood that it is, and we created that slit in the top and the trash can below so we can work here. The countertops are gorgeous Taj Mahal quartzite. What is quartzite? It's natural. It's as hard as granite. It's as pretty as marble. So it's gushy, it's soft, it's resilient, it's hard, but it is the look that I love. And the colors are warm, sultry, like the kitchen. So I have the blue brought into my 2 islands, and then the rest is this light pashmina color that I have a crush on. When it comes to 2 islands, let me explain how much I love 2 islands. This is my work island. I can get a lot done here, and I'm adjacent to the stove and the range. I can work simultaneously, 2 people in one space if I give enough room in between. And then as you come over to the other island here, you can see that this is a complete work surface. I could wrap presents here. I could roll out bread. I wish I did that more often. I can do so many things here without a sink in my way. And then I can serve and serve buffet style as well off the second island. So that is why I love 2 islands. In a space this grand, this large, this high, it was the right thing to do 2 chandeliers and not hang them too low, but they helped to fill the massing that this room has and cozy it up a bit. But my favorite lights in the house are always the MAC. You can see the level of detail in these. The brass with the enamel slate blue and the brass underneath. There's nothing like the way these workings were done to create the hooks. I get into this stuff, and these are the prettiest thing in the house. To save money, we went with 2 instead of the expected 3. So just a rule correction for you guys. It's no longer about 3s and uneven numbers. I actually am very settled with the even numbers and even just 2. So now looking into the dining room right next to the kitchen, everything is meant to be really easy to flow. I think the floor plan is a winner. This family can just let loose in here and everyone can be a part of everyone's lives. I love this light fixture too. And this is where I was able to emit a little bit of a more modern flavor. You can see it's a little edgier, kind of cool. And the future holds window coverings perhaps in this room. And of course, outdoor furniture, all things that can wait because we want to get the bones just right. All right, let's go into the adjacent room, which we're going to call the Butler's pantry. What's not to love about a butler's pantry? It's an opportunity to switch it up, make it fun, bring in light, and actually do some hard work. So we set this baby up. It's beautiful with the brass shelving that you know I love, which makes it easy to set the table, grab a glass. We also set this up as a wet bar underneath. Here we have our big kitchen sink and another dishwasher. We've got double ovens in here, and we just have extra pantry storage. But I want you to see that I had a little fun. Look at this floor design. We so wanted to have a little gesture, a little spark, a little punch mixed with our blue and the brass. I think it's really fun, and why not go the extra mile in a small area? So that's how we decided we would know when to hold them and know when to fold them, and this had to happen. There's no question the powder bath has to do some talking. Again, a small space, an easy space to design and have a little fun. So we used feather wall covering to bring in color, and you'll see how it brings us blues and yellows and greens. We left for an open vanity so we could store some baskets underneath with the toilet paper, but also just feel a little less formal. The floor, also another really cool, fun flavored design in an octagon, which makes it interesting. And then of course the mirror with a flower shape around it. Kind of cool. Always a sconce to mix it up a little bit. I really rely on lighting to be the art in a room. So as you're picking your lighting, it's not just a practical thing. It counts, and it really helps tell the story of the design in your home. Right next to the great room is the master suite, and we had this little nook before you enter. I love a vestibule. I was so happy when they let me use the shiplap all throughout this vestibule, in the ceiling, on the side walls. It's not that expensive to add just a little bit of detail, and we had to pick a light fixture that, you know, kind of mixed it up a little bit. On to the master. All right, I still feel that sense of sanctuary when I come in here. As I said, it's been about a year since I've been here. They have lived so well in here and kept it so nice. I love how the bed is in the center of the room, and I've got a beautiful limestone fireplace in front of me, a TV because, you know, a lovely spot for their books and a lounge chair, and then easy access to the outside. The goal was really simply to make it quiet and beautiful. It mattered what light fixture we picked because we also needed to spend a little money there to make a difference. Hey guys, if you ever have a vaulted ceiling, try to always put a beam in the center of it. This is a good example. A lot of times you'll end up with a vaulted ceiling just because of the way your roofs are designed, but if you leave it empty, it just looks, well, empty. And so I suggest run a beam in there, and it can just be a boxed white oak beam. It's not that hard to add that little bit of an extra touch. I love the rug in here and the softness, and we lead into the master with the same vibes. When I design a master suite bathroom, I want it to feel roomy, lovely, luxurious, and like a spa. For this one, we had the luxury of enough space to do 2 separate vanities with a beautiful tub in between. I remember the day I thought, oh, could we please do diamond windows in this little spot? And they did it. So once again, you gotta know when to spend and when to hold. You can always do more later, but they spent on the things that really mattered. We have a beautiful limestone floor in this room, and of course, another quartzite on the countertops. You can see I have a choice when it comes to the details on these countertops. For me, I wanted it to feel a little bit traditional. We have the straightness of the vanity, the modernness of these brass knobs, but you can see this DuPont edge adding that little touch of softness. This again is a quartzite. It is Macubus, and one of my favorites because it brings in a little energy with all of these lines. And yet the body of it is succulent and soft and grayish, if you will. I love the mirror and the offset of the sconce. Remember, we don't always want to have the sink in the middle, making each side of the vanity a little small. Instead, you simply place the sink to one side, so you have all this room to do your hair and your makeup. It makes sense. And then I just simply love the asymmetry of the design between the light and the mirror. The adjacent shower, of course, has a Euro glass door with the brass hinges. We left this as an awning window when we need to release the steam in the shower. This is a steam shower, so you have to run the glass all the way up. I love this travertine on the walls. Yes, it's travertine. I know it's not 1990, but we still like this travertine because of its organic, sedimentary, linear nature. I think you can appreciate the settling that this feels. We put in a shower bench, beautiful brass hardware, and remember, it's okay if the brass looks like it's been here. We want it to have age. That's what's so beautiful about brass. This is one of the daughter's rooms, and we liked letting her do it herself. So she put together her bed and her bedding and even this little spot. The only thing I had to do in this spot was come up with the drapes, and I love the feminine soft pink and gray drapery. It's fun. We raised it onto a platform so it felt like a different little space. And of course you can see she's kind of foxy. I love the bathroom in this space. It's just the right feel. You can see as you walk in here that you're somewhere special. I always look for a way to create a focal point on that bathroom wall. Of course, wall covering is an easy way to achieve it and affordable. I love the shape of the mirror, the brass lighting, and of course the fun in the shower. It's a simple bathroom. It didn't raise the budget too much, but we tried to give it a look, something fun for these young girls. Once again, the girls did their own room. I helped them a little bit, but look at the character that they brought in, the fun. You can tell the two girls are different. One likes pink, the other one blue. We've got a brass surfboard in here, a very chic light fixture, lots of fun. I really give these girls credit, but their bathroom, I did have something to do with. It was a bit of a trick because we were creating a Jack and Jill bath, but you can see this wonderful wall covering with all the birds and the brass, and then this very glamorous sconce really made it come about. Once again, placing that sink on one side so they have plenty of room to do what they need to. Of course, these girls did this room as well. Can you imagine 3 girls, 1 boy? I'll show you his room in a minute. Look at this light fixture. This is incredible. Again, they chose where to spend the money, and then the rest they'll continue to build. This had to happen. When it comes to a lower level, the last thing I want is to feel like I'm in a basement. So we decided to really elevate the finishes down here and really make it fun for these kids. Starting with this platform height sofa sectional that can just be parts and pieces thrown about. We have a great focal point for the large TV. When is a TV ever large enough? This one's pretty big, but you know what? In the future, they could go bigger. We left space. Always putting a wall covering behind the TV really warms the TV and connects it to the wall it's hanging naked on. So for me, I had to beg and get that wallpaper, and I think the client's very happy we did. Of course, we had to do cabinets on either side for all of their games and their fun things, and maybe their Wii and their Xbox, but most of that is hidden so the area feels clean and very cool. We've got an adjacent kitchenette full of candy and snacks that are easy and at hand. We've got fridge drawers, but not a whole kitchen. The goal with kitchenettes is to play them down a little bit, make them self-service, and make them not look like a kitchen. Now, the theater. This is adjacent, wide open to all of the experience here for the family. So this is where we get the projector TV, and we get comfortable seating that kind of turns into beds. I don't know if that's wise or not, but for me, I would love it. In this family home, the boy ended up in the basement. So I wanted this room to be fantastic and of course masculine. I think he likes being away from those girls upstairs. Look at this space. I love how dark and rich it is. The flavors really just say boy and texture. He's a cool kid too, really smart, very handsome, and this room just speaks of him. You can see I did get away with adding the nickel board on one of the walls just to create some interest. Painting your nickel board or your shiplap, whatever you want to call it, is a good idea. It's an opportunity to switch it up a little bit. All of the furnishings were meant to feel a little vibey, a little cool and edgy, because this guy cared, just like his father. This house was driven by the husband more than the wife, in my experience, and I loved it. I love that he had an opinion. I always like when I've got both of my clients interested and engaged in our projects, and I think this house shows that both the husband and the wife were involved. Totally a boys' bathroom here, and it all started with the floor. If you want to look at how cool this is, it looks like an old man's chevron suit with like a wool texture, and really it's just porcelain tile, not expensive. Then when we come to the vanity, once again, we've got a quartz material. Actually, this is quartz instead of the quartzite because we could save some money here. We have the wonderful brass mirror, wall covering, and I love this hardware. If you get up close, the fact that it's got that campaign style hardware, but always the brass. Even the younger boy knew brass was cool. And the shower's awesome. We were able to spend some money here on the blue marble. You can see it back in the back, and we offset the cost of the marble by going with a blue ceramic tile. This bathroom definitely did what I needed it to, made the boy feel like he had his own space. It was masculine and it was quality. Overall, this house just feels delightful. It's bright, it's arid, it's very fresh. I love the color scheme and I feel good in it. I've asked my client 1 year later how they feel in the house, and it makes me feel very good to know that they love being here and being here as a family. I'm Anne Marie Barton for The Reveal.